I have a story time. I worked with someone once, a leader at the company, and we were talking about empathy. And he says he always has empathy at the forefront of what he does. And that's originally, and that's not the number one reason, but one of the reasons why I was like, okay, I trust this company and I really like what they're saying. And then I quickly learned that that is far from the truth, what that person is. And goes to say is you can't say you are more empathetic than someone in a conversation. You can't say, well, I know you have empathy, but I'm more apathetic than you. That's not a thing because you don't know. You don't like you don't have empathy if you're even saying that in the first place. Okay. And empathy, I feel, and Troy, I want to hear your things or thoughts on this is how does that like tie into diversity in a positive connection, but also how people could use it in a negative way towards it?
I think sometimes people blame empathy for being having a hero complex. If you see a black man and maybe I'm struggling and oh, I gave Troy a contract for this. Look what I've done. I had empathy. No, you're taking the advantage and trying to gaslight yourself, virtual signal yourself to look this high thing because I was a person in need, or maybe I'm historically a person that don't get as many opportunities. So you thought, let's do this and make myself look what I'm doing. Look how great of a hero I am. That is not allyship, if we want to use that word, but most importantly, that's not the right channels to tie into empathy. That is not the same way. Empathy is I may not have your same plight, but I am willing to understand it, to acknowledge it, to declare it is real, to declare it is valid, and see are there any ways I can either support you through it, end it, or be on standby as you're navigating it. An example of this, which
I think I know where you're going with this.
this the same thing. When you revealed to me, I think by the end of day one or mid of day two,
We were in our
and
red
inbound
outfits.
some things you were navigating, and I heard some things, I saw some things. I had empathy of I'm not going to dispute what she is telling me is happening. And I'm going to be whatever she needs me to be here for. But also, this is the other caveat when you're tying empathy. Sometimes the best thing to do is not to always act. I know people think that's the first thing you're supposed to do. That's not always the case. And may I just say this, if you are a male leader, y'all might call me a feminist, and I probably am. But in actuality, when you're in a press, you need to be able to understand and articulate a certain way. When you are a male leader and you may have a female counterpart as your equal, and you identify that there's something happening, sometimes it's not always the best thing for you to just step in and what are you doing? What you talking about, Willis? Come up in here trying to be the hero because you're making it worse. You're literally taking away their power. But Troy, I saw that they said something to that person. But was that your place? Was that your time? Did they ask you for your help? Was the situation called for clearly for you to speak up in that moment? And I'm not saying be quiet and do nothing, but I'm saying this is the caveat with leaders and diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging is we're not talking about children's play no more. Ooh, see something, say something. It goes more levels beyond that. So when she articulated this to me, and I'm seeing it, it wasn't my place to come in like Black Lightning over here and try to be a superhero. I'm here on standby if you need me, but I'm not going to take away your power to resolve and articulate your grievances, identify that pain point from you, but knowing that you have someone here that if it gets a little rough out here,
Let's
I'm
be
from
real. We have two.
Chicago.
I had two people. Shout out to Tamra. Okay.
Tamra, y'all, we're gonna have Tamra on one of these episodes. Let me tell y'all real quick. Tamra is a saint. This lady is an angel. I will let CK tell more about
I just
Tamra,
got
but
all
the
the
one thing I
goosebumps.
learned when she said, "No, this person came in for me and support me," y'all, she was a OG ready to support everything. Then she gonna support me too. So my point is saying all of that when you lead with empathy and have an understanding of someone's plight, you know how to navigate and still be supportive in their circle without taking away their power to resolve the issue. We are grown adults. We're not kids and need a parent to come in here and pull you away. You need someone on the sidelines or next to you ready to go into battle if you need to. But ultimately, just know that they have someone to support them however it goes down.
And I appreciate you so much for that, to be real. That's and I can remember that conversation like it was yesterday. We were sitting down that round table and it was like silent at first. And then because you knew essentially, and then we went out and then we like killed it on stage, That just shows you the the comfortable ness, I guess you could say, that we have with each other, but it's more like really the trust and how we know, and we also know when and if something needs to happen, and that savior or whatever you're trying to be, savior complex, is not always the positive one to do. And that, I mean, that goes to the hiring, what we were talking about. Like, don't try to be that. Yeah, it's hard to articulate my thinking in a nice manner, that when companies just hire and they're hiring for certain reasons because they want to slap it on their website, is essentially the same thing that Troy's saying, in the sense of like knowing your place and being that I don't know who it wasn't Batman, but she said something like not Black Panther. What did you say? Black
Oh,
Lightning?
Black Lightning.
Yeah. In that capacity.